Hi everyone, Stephanie from InkspireMe here. I hope you're all having a great night. I'm just going to give it a minute for Facebook's algorithms to catch up and pop this video into people's feeds, and I'm just going to make sure that I'm live in the right spots. Bear with me just one moment. If you're joining, be sure to say hi. I love to read the comments and interact as we're crafting together. Okay, I think we're in the right spot, so I'm just going to give it a minute to see if people join. Again, don't forget to like and share. Hi everyone. Okay, so I wanted to resume my weekly lives. It's been a long time since I've come on and crafted with all of you, so I have two projects tonight and I hope you enjoy them. I am going to cover up the camera really momentarily so I can put you in the stand and not give you motion sickness, so just bear with me one moment. Okay, just make sure I'm positioned properly here. There we go. Okay, so tonight I wanted to do some Christmas cards. I've been working on my retreat and primarily working on Christmas cards for that. So I'm in the Christmas spirit and thought that I would continue that. So the first card we're going to make tonight is featuring the Cherish the Season stamp set and coordinating dies, which are, oops, right here. So the Sounds of the Seasons dies. So this is the project we're going to make. And to create this, we're going to use the Merry Christmas sentiment from the stamp set. And we're going to use the 3 bell dies from the die set. And of course, we're going to use the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And then we're also going to pull in the stitched shape framelits, stitched shape dies and the layering circles dies. And we're using the 2 largest circles from those respective sets. Our colors are crumb cake for the base, measuring 8.5 by 5.5, folded in half to become 5.5 by 4.25. And then we have our brushed metallic cardstock in gold, and that measures 2 1/8 by 4 1/8. And then we have our Plaid Tidings Designer Series paper, measuring 2 inches by 4 inches. And that paper pack, that Plaid Tidings paper pack, is included in the DSP sale, which is on until the end of the month. So let's go ahead and get started. So to start, we're going to take our base and we're going to fold that in half. And if you have a bone folder, go ahead and burnish the edges, as it just gives it a nice crisp fold and helps it lay flat. Next, we're going to take our brushed metallic cardstock, and again, we're going to cut that to 2 1/8 by 4 1/8. And we have this piece of the Plaid Tidings DSP. You can see it's double-sided, but we're going to use the crumb cake side. We're going to layer that on top of our brushed gold here using our Stampin' seal. And you don't need a lot of adhesive. 4 corners and the center is more than enough to hold it. And when you layer this on, it should leave about a 1/16 of an inch border all the way around. And then you can stick that directly to your card base. And again, just 4 corners and the center. And we're going to leave that 1/16 of an inch border from the bottom and the sides and give that a good push. Next, we're going to stamp our sentiment. So I'm just going to put the base to the side for a moment. And I'm going to pull in a piece of Whisper White and Crumb Cake ink. So I've already gone ahead and put the Merry Christmas on the block. This is an H block. You always want to use the smallest block that fits the stamps to avoid rocking and getting that ghosting. And because the circle is fairly large, I'm going to stamp a good ways in from the bottom and the side, because now we're going to take our die. So again, this is the largest circle from the stitched shape framelits, and we're going to cut that out using our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So if you've never used the machine before, the platforms are all labeled and tell you exactly what you need to do. So in this case, we're going to start with our main platform, which is number 1. And then it tells us that we're using, with thin dies, we want a 2, which is this one here. And then we want a 3 underneath the die, our paper and our die, and then a 3 on top. So we've got our 2, our 3. We're going to put our paper in there with our die. And you want to position your die exactly where you want it. And then we're going to put a 3 on top. And we're going to run that through the machine, which I'm just doing off camera here. And when we pop that out, we have our sentiment. So we're going to put that to the side. And then we're going to do the same thing with a piece of the brushed gold and the largest scalloped circle from the Layering Circles dies. So again, we've got a 1, a 2, a 3, our paper and our die, and then another 3 on top. And we're going to run that through. That out. Just tuck my dies to the side there. Now, if you have scraps left of the brushed gold, you can use that to cut out your bells. So let's see if these are big enough to fit my bells here. So there's my largest bell. We're going to do the medium size. I can get the small one in there as well. So that same sandwich. And what I love about the bell dies, you can see I tilted that, they also emboss as they cut, so you're going to get that lovely detail as well as the shape. So run that through. So there's our bells. And I'm just going to pop those out like so. We'll put our scraps to the side, and now we can begin to assemble. So we're going to pull our base back in. I'm just going to move our ink out of the way. So the first thing we want to do is mount our sentiment to our scalloped circle. So I'm just going to do that with the Stampin' Seal and just 4 dabs of adhesive. And then you want to try and line that up as centered as possible on your scallop. So, and when I'm pushing down something that's been stamped, I always like to turn it over so that I don't risk smudging the ink. So there we have our circle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut a length of the gold trim that comes in the Forever Greenery combo pack, and I'm going to wrap it around 4 fingers 3 times to get a nice length. And now we're going to loop that across the back of it. So what I like to do is put a couple of dabs of adhesive on the back, just to kind of hold it as I'm creating those loops. And there's no right or wrong. You can make it as loopy or as straight as you prefer. Do that, because I want the tail out the other side. So there we have our loops. And then we're going to stick that whole thing to our card base using Stampin' Dimensionals. So I always like one in the center to give it some support. I'm going to put some right over where I'd put that adhesive, and then just a couple of extras. And I'm going to peel off the backs. And we're going to stick that to the base like so. And then we're going to start attaching our bells. So first thing I want to do is punch out the top of our bell. And you're going to play with your placement. So because I've got the extra loops of twine on the side, I think I'm going to put the bells on the left. And you can see that because the tag is raised, if I were to stick the bell down, it's not really supported. So I'm going to put one dimensional on the side here, like so. And then I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on the other side so that it sticks to our sentiment. I'm going to peel the back off that dimensional. And we're going to place that against the tag like so. So next we're going to do the same thing with the medium size. So I just popped out that centerpiece. And this one, I think, is going to be mostly on the tag. So we don't need that dimensional, but we are going to put some adhesive on there. And that works for me. And then lastly, of course, we have our little bitty bell. And I think we're going to use just a mini dimensional for him. So these are slightly smaller than our regular dimensionals, but they work the exact same way. And I just realized I didn't punch out that center. And we're going to tuck him in about there. And there we have our first card. Quick and easy, and that brushed metallic foil is just stunning. I absolutely love the look of this card. What do you think? All right, so let's move on to the second card for the evening. Now this one I wanted to feature some more of the DSP. So this is actually using the 'Tis the Season 6" by 6" DSP. And again, this is a stack that it is on sale during the month of October. It is, you can see it's a stack of paper. It's all double-sided 6" by 6" paper. The primary colors are basic black, cherry cobbler, garden green, real red, shaded spruce, and whisper white. And so tonight we are using a Sahara Sand base, Mary Merlot as our mat, and then we're using this piece of DSP with the beautiful mistletoe berries on there, and we're going to stamp our sentiment on the Sahara Sand. So let's go ahead and pull in our supplies for this one. So my Sahara Sand base again is 8.5 by 5.5. We're going to fold it in half and give it a nice edge using our bone folder. Hi, Lisa. And this one is going to be landscape positioned. Our Mary Merlot measures 4.5 by 3.25, and that can get attached right to your base, centering it as best as possible to leave a 1/2 inch border all the way around. then you're going to pull in four rectangles of the DSP. And for this, what I did is I cut a 2-inch strip, and then each rectangle is 2 inches by 1 3/8. And the reason for that is that when we layer it on top of our mat here, it gives us a perfect 1/8 of an inch border all the way around, as well as that lovely cross piece. So once you've got them lined up, you can see I've actually got the pattern lined up as best as possible. Once you've got them where you want them, you're going to go ahead and stick those directly to your base. And for these, again, we don't need a lot of adhesive, so I'm just doing the 2 edges. That one. And our last one there. Now we get to do some stamping. So I'm going to pull in another scrap piece of Sahara sand. I'm actually going to turn it this way. And we are going to use an older set. This is Itty Bitty Christmas. This is in the annual catalog, so it's not in the mini catalog. And I'm using the Merry Christmas and Happy New Year sentiment from that. And we're going to use Merry Merlot ink to coordinate with the mat that we're using. So I'm just going to ink that up and stamp that right on the Sahara sand. And then we're going to use the smallest die from the Celebration Labels die set, and we're going to cut that out using our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So just like the previous card, we're going to create that sandwich, a 1, 2, and 3 underneath the paper and die, and then a 3 on top to create that sandwich. And we're going to run it through. That out, so it's got the lovely stitch detail around it, but it's got a more scallopy feel to it. I'm just going to move the ink out of the way. And to finish this card off, I'm actually going to pull in 2 pieces from the die set we used on the first card, which are these 2 little greenery leaves. And I'm going to pull in a scrap piece of garden green cardstock. You can see I've cut out a bunch of different things on this, so it's perfect. We're going to cut out 3 of the greenery items. So I'm going to do 1 large and 2 small. So there's the first 2. See, it's stuck to my plate there. And then I'm going to cut 1 more small one out. Again, it's stuck to my plate. I'm just going to scratch that off, and I'm going to put my machine to the side here. So the label itself is going to be popped off the front using dimensionals, but before we do that, I want to stick the large greenery item in behind it. So I'm going to just take a little bit of adhesive in the corner and position that sprig where I like it. And now we're going to use our dimensionals to pop that up off the front. So again, I like 1 in the middle and then 1 on each of the corners. Peel those backs off. I'm going to put that right in the center. What I like about this label is it actually has little notches, which you can use to line up your center points. So then for our little green sprigs, I'm going to use our multi-purpose glue. And I'm just going to put a little bit on the bottom few branches here. We're going to put those on the front of the label, wherever you would like those to sit, kind of creating a grouping of 3. Like so. And then to finish it off, I'm going to use the Elegant Faceted Gems. And I'm going to use these ones here that are sparkly because they remind me of snow. So I'm just going to use the Take Your Pick tool to grab those. And I'm going to put one over the stems of the green sprigs. I'm going to put one just slightly lower into the side, and then one on the opposite side. And there we have the second card for the evening. I love how easily that came together, and I love the Merry Merlot, even though it's not a recommended color for the DSP pack. I think it works really well with this card because there's no other reds in there. So those are our 2 cards for this evening. I'm so glad to have been able to get on live again. And remember to join me every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern as we craft together. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great night.